It's the toughest part because this is the place where you spend your whole production money, whole production time, whole team. If you probably the first two sections you would do with a 5 to 10 member team, but when you come to the belief part, you will be like having, I don't know, 20, 30. And if you go into Assassin's Creed kind of an IP, 400, 500 people working at this point. Making the belief part, making it for the audience. So in that area, a lot of aspects come. First one is, your game itself should have a lot of objectives. I don't know how many of you are hardcore fans of Assassin's Creed, even if Assassin's Creed was image that, but still. Okay, when you play Assassin's Creed, you get missions to do, right? Have you noticed that there are missions which stands only for 2 minutes and there are missions that will take you 6 hours? That's the difference between short-term objectives to long-term objectives. Okay, for me as a producer, I'll ask my game designers, what is your scope, or build the scope of people playing your game, if it is a mobile game, on a day-to-day cycle, what is your mission? Or is there an achievement or a feature to be unlocked after he plays 6 hours? So you need to break it down as a scope, how much you want in terms of a game to be there. Like for example, if you are doing a match 3 like Candy Crush, launch time they had 150 levels. Okay, in that 150 levels, probably they had 10 different type of objectives. One is collect this coin, one is collect that coin, sometimes collect 3 coins, now beat this guy, now beat that guy. Lot of objectives. So it's more of bringing that scope of how much number of objectives do you need? How much is the short ones? How much is the long ones? You can't say this is a complete progression also. Because you can't tell the user that he plays for first 1 week, all the short-term objectives are done, then they give him only mid-term objectives. No. Because after that also he's coming back. If he's not motivated by finishing objectives, he'll quit the game. So we need to balance it out correctly. Every now and then, if it is a multiplier kind of a level that you have, okay, 2 short-term objectives, 1 long-term objective, 1 mid-term objective, always there, steadily. So that every time when the user comes in, he'll be able to do at least 1 short-term objective and then try to crack the mid-term objective. So it's always like, balancing it out. Again, it's only me, okay? When you do your projects, you will have to find your own way of doing it. It's just a process, a mental process that I try to do. Second, then belief. Now comes the visual fidelity moment, the visuals of it. Okay. I don't know how many of you have heard about the game called The Witness. It's only going to come out for PS4. Okay. The art director on Witness, like around 6 months back, he put out a very bold statement on GDC, which I have been believing for past 3 years. Okay. And he is from Ubisoft also. I know him like 4 years back because we had a slight discussion. And what he says, I completely agree to it. Video games, at the root of it, okay, it's a gameplay value based product. People value your game most of the time for the game experience that you provide. There are games which give you an intense visual feel, but their gameplay will be as smooth as it is. It's as crisp as it is. So that they can experience the world. Correct? So for me, in that also, the gameplay experience is the star. It is as smooth as it is, so you are enjoying the visual beauty of it. So the statement that he put out was very simple. Unless and until the game design is 90% not implemented, I am not going to do the art direction for it. Why? Anyone has a clue? Why? Very simple. When the game design moves in, sometimes the genre shifts. From a horror-based game, it might go into a first-person action game. A lot of things can happen. If you start setting up an art direction at the start, he'll be redoing the work. Keep on redoing the work until you finalize this is the core game mechanics, this is the core look, how it works, blah, blah, blah. So, for me, that comes at that point, I check with my art director just to see whether this art direction is apt for our game or not. Look at the competitors, look at the art style of it. Is it too casual or is it too hardcore? Let's try to find uniqueness in that. Yes, if it is a casual game, how can we be unique? That's a different question altogether. but we know that it's casual. So let's try to find where we position ourselves, because we are no longer in a market where you can say that I come first and I will win. That's almost gone. It's like 99% is not the case. Right now it is like there are tons of people who are out there, and when we push out a game, if it becomes a success, there will be tons of guys who would just come in with rampage trying to kill you. Right? So at one point we need to know that how unique are us and then try to push it. So I have the vision fidelity coming over. And then what most of you guys like, is it story driven? Does it have a story? Does it have a context? Does it have a plot? Does it have different characters coming and giving you a lot of stuff? And sometimes this just gets canned off also. It's not necessary. Sometimes if it is like Subway Surfer of a game, the narration part is only at the start, where he just prays like that, and then he runs off. That's it. Very short, done. Crisp and done. But I am doing it at the last, because my importance is the core mechanics, the core gameplay. Maybe it's a bad process, because I know pretty sure that most of the time Ubisoft games get this slap saying that the story was nothing. It was just simple, like put over there. The gameplay was it. Correct? Actually, it's a video game. It's not an interactive movie, so the focus comes over there. But there are people who do it like with narration itself. They also come to that. Okay, it's more of a process of a mindset. What do you want to ship with? But this, at least for me, comes at an ending when you have the core gameplay, you have the set of objectives, and I believe that if you put enough amount of time and money over here, you can still make a God of War out of it with good stories. Because when the stories come in, you can say that, oh, I have this objective at this level. This can be clean when you have this part of the story to work with. You can still do it. Okay, it's not too far, but it would just justify that I have this core exotic gameplay, which is fun to play with, and when the boss fight comes in, we can pump this in. So you have proof. I mean, you have made it. It's working. So it's much more easier to pump it out. And this is one of the reasons why I think I told you to this over here, that if a game designer comes and says that I have the story idea, it's a brilliant concept. I say it's not in my concept. It's for me. This comes at last. Okay. And that comes to my process. I don't know how many of you would understand the entire process. Okay. These are the first 3 questions that I would try to answer that would make me feel that the game is ready to ship to a market. And it comes at different phases. Okay. As a game developer, I'm not even telling you that you are a designer, programmer, artist. No. Because at one point when you come out of your courses, you clearly would understand that game development process, even if there are hierarchies to do, when you start building a game, you are equally involved in the product success. Because the product is giving an experience to the user. What kind of experience? Fun experience. What is fun experience? It's entertainment. And if you can't entertain me, you're a gamer, forget about making games. Okay? I hope I was great, it was not too intense. But because me and Harry had a question what I would put the title of this session, eventually we got a hardcore title. I don't know how good it was, but at least I hope I could explain certain things to you and you understood.